Howdy, welcome to the Hardwood Hollow. This is Dan, Hardwood Hollow Bushcraft and Tactical. Today I want to do a quick video just talking about something that I've seen very few videos online really addressing. That subject is mounting a long gun, or also known as shouldering a long gun. There's a lot of handgun videos online and even quite a few videos with ARs and stuff like that, shotguns and whatnot, but none of them that I've seen really specifically address rapid and repeatable shouldering or mounting of a shotgun or a long gun in general. So I'm going to reset the video. I've got 3 different types of long guns here. I've got 2 open-sighted and 1 scope, 1 lever action, 1 single break-open shotgun, single shot break-open shotgun, and my muzzle loader, which is scoped. I just brought it out to show that once you get the muscle memory down from repeated practice, and it's going to take lots and lots of repeated practice of just bringing that gun up until you develop the muscle memory, so that no matter what long gun you grab that long gun and you pop it up and it's pointing the same place every single time. Alright, let me reset the video. Down on the table we'll show you what we got, and then I'll reset again and we'll do some actual demos. Not going to do any live fire today, but we'll go ahead and do some shouldering demos just so you can see how the repeated practice, proper repeated practice. You can practice something a million times, but if you're practicing it wrong, you're going to go wrong in real life. So we want you to learn to properly practice, and you're going to have to figure out what works exactly for you. I'm going to show you what works for me. It might be a little bit different for you. You might have some sort of physical impairment that makes that the way I'm showing you not possible, and you'll have to figure it out for yourself, but we'll try and get the basics down for you. Alright? Let's reset and we'll go from there. Alright, first gun we got right here. This is a New England Firearms. This is a Partner 20 gauge shotgun barrel on a Huntsman receiver. A lot of people don't realize, if you find the nickel plated Huntsman receiver or muzzleloader in a gun shop, I highly recommend you purchase it. It's not likely to be that expensive, but the nice thing about the muzzleloader is you can add barrels. Any of the handgun calibers are capable going on here, any of the shotgun calibers, as well as the muzzleloader barrel. They no longer offer the muzzleloader barrel for it, but any of the shotgun, handgun calibers, and if you call them, they may even indicate some of the other lower end rifle calibers that can fit on it. I believe it's rated for up to .223 in centerfire. So that's one gun we've got. You'll notice it's just got a single fiber optic bead sight up front, no rear sight. The techniques I'm going to show you, like I said, will work with any long gun you've got, whether scoped or open-sighted. Next, I've got a Marlin 1895. This is a homemade guide gun. It came with a 22-inch barrel. I added the 3-port muzzle brake, moved the rear sight back, added a forward light mount, rail light mount, so I can put a tactical light on here for when because this is the gun I carry when I go up into bear country. And it's just got standard sights, but I'm not using this particular sight. I've got the white bead up front, and I've got the peep in the rear with a rather large reticle in it. And then last but not least, this is my Huntsman muzzleloader, and this is 50 caliber. This has got the Bushnell Dusk Till Dawn scope on it, which I don't know the camera I'd be able to get the camera to see the reticle, but it has a circle crosshair reticle down inside of it. So just out of curiosity, I'm going to go ahead and change the camera here and see if I can't get that reticle to show up in the lens. Like I said, I don't know if it'll work or not. I've never tried anything like this before. There you can kind of see it. Let me see if I can, there you go. So you see that circle in the middle with the crosshair in there? What that is designed for is you zero this for what you want it zeroed for, which I have it zeroed for 50 yards. Where I live, you can see how thick the woods are there. The chances of me shooting anything over 50 yards are pretty slim, but if I do, I can go between 25 and 100 just using Kentucky elevation. So what that crosshair is designed for is that when you bring this gun up and shoulder it, you should be able to take a quick snapshot so that when the gun comes up, that circle is designed to be the size of the kill zone on an average white-tailed deer, 125-pound deer or so, at 100 yards. So that circle will fully cover that front shoulder kill zone at 100 yards. So you'll have to practice it for yourself if you get a scope like that. They're inexpensive. They run about 99 bucks. I highly recommend, if you do get this particular scope, that you go ahead and get really good rings for it. Rings are just as important as the optic. I have a couple of these. Not my favorite optic, but it works really well for most muzzleloaders, shotguns, and lower recoiling rifles. You get into the heavier recoiling rifles, 308 and above, you could risk blowing out the crosshairs because it's really not designed to accept that sort of recoil. Like I said, it's more of a muzzleloader / shotgun scope. So let's start with the I'm going to go ahead and flip these around so the muzzles are not pointing towards me. As I always say in all of my videos, always practice proper firearm safety. Okay, we're going to start with the single shot. This is really popular among survivalists and bushcrafters. Dave Canterbury really recommends them. I've used the New England Firearms, Harrington and Richardson products for a long time. They're simple, they're reliable, they're your basic get or done gun when it comes to shotguns. Like I said, this one is the 20 gauge partner on a Huntsman muzzleloader receiver. I've just got the lightweight pistol grip stock. I do have the Survivor 4-end. This is made by Choate, and you can get some of the guns from New England with this on it, but they sell a butt stock called the Survivor butt stock as well. But what's unique about this one is it does have the sling swivel stud, which is hard mounted in the front, and if you look inside, there's a rather large deep cavity that allows you to store a certain amount of survival gear inside the stock. If you do buy these stocks, you will note there is no metal at the end, so it could potentially require a little bit of very careful fitting. I just used a little bit of emery cloth wrapped around a wooden dowel, was able to file it out a little bit. You want it to fit snug. You don't want it to just drop in and fall in loose. When you get to that screw hole, you want it to fit snug, because that's going to help keep the action and the barrel to the action snug when you're breaking it open. It comes with a thumb screw to put it on and take it off. The Survivor butt stock, like I said, I don't have it. It's a square stock, which gives you a defined pistol grip, and there's a thumb wheel similar to this one on the bottom of the butt stock. You can unscrew that thumb wheel and you rotate the butt pad out of the way, and that whole inside hollow cavity is available for storage of survival gear. Alright, so again, we're verifying that the shotgun is empty. Now what I do, again, I'm telling you what I do, what works really well for me. If you have it in a on a sling, pretty much any gun I'm going to be carrying on me out in the woods, not necessarily for hunting per se, but if I'm in a bug out scenario and I'm carrying a long gun on the outside, I'm going to have a long sling on it, similar to a tactical sling. I don't have the setup on here, but one way you can go about that, I've got another rifle that I've done it to that's got a polymer stock, and I actually drilled into the side and installed a sling swivel stud up here on the side, and then that sling goes down and connects to the front. But that allows you, with it connected to the side, to drape that gun comfortably. If you use this stud down here, the gun wants to go this way, and it's not going to be as comfortable. You want it this way so that you can maintain that positive pistol grip lock on the gun. So when it comes to shouldering, your shoulder, if you feel your shoulder here, you've got a crease, and you've got a really soft spot down here, and then it gets firmer as it goes up, and when you get up here you can feel your clavicle, your shoulder bone. You never, ever, ever, ever want the buttstock to be touching that clavicle, that shoulder bone, because when you do discharge the gun, unless you're talking a little rimfire or 223 with little recoil, you start discharging shotguns. This muzzleloader here, like I said, is 50 caliber. I usually run a 295 power belt with 100 grains of 777 powder. It's got some pretty stout felt recoil, and my Marlin here is 4570. So again, fairly stout recoil depending on the load that you use. So what you're going to do is, whenever I keep my guns, like in the house, if I'm carrying it in the truck and I think I'm in that situation where I may need to get it quickly, I'll put the muzzle down on the floor and bring the buttstock up by the next to the center console. That way, again, I just reach down and get my hand on the pistol grip, and that's just one more piece of muscle memory. Every gun you have, you need to develop muscle memory for that specific gun, but you want them to be as similar as possible. So in this case, all three of these guns have pistol grip stock, including the Marlin lever action. That has the pistol grip stock. So I can get that proper indexing of my hand rapidly on the gun. So what I like to practice is, like I said, carrying muzzle down, and I'm going to find that soft crease right in the bottom of my shoulder, and I'm going to move about an inch up from that, because if you get right down in there, you're setting too low and you're not going to get proper alignment with your eye. So I like to go a little bit above it, and I'm just below that clavicle. So I can feel that point, and I've got ligaments or something in here that I know when the bottom point of that buttstock, of that rubber pad hits that, I know where it's at. And from that position now, when you're doing this, all of that you want to be done ancillary. Your focus needs to be on the target or the threat. So whether it's two-legged vermin, four-legged vermin, a freaking turkey, it don't matter. You put your focus on that threat. Now here's how you adjust the elevation for that threat. Now see, where I'm looking out, my ground drops off here. So if I'm looking straight ahead, when that gun comes up, this part of the buttstock is meeting just below that cheekbone right there. And when it comes up like that, I'm going to pull the hammer back so I can see that bead. When that gun comes up, that bead is dead on. Now that's dead on with my eye alignment and with my cheekbone. So you never ever want to tilt your head. You see a lot of people that when they bring up a gun, whether it be sights or scopes or whatever, they roll their head this way. Bad practice, because rolling your head to the gun oftentimes causes you to roll the gun as well, and when the gun is canted, it's never going to shoot right. It's not going to shoot straight. So what you want, and I'm going to turn my profile so you can see, is rather than tilt my head this way, I'm going to move my head forward slightly, and I'm going to tilt it so that I'm looking at whatever the threat is, and I'm looking at the target zone on that threat, so that when I pick up that gun, so I'm going to simulate just picking it up off the table, right there. It's dead on. That bead is on where it needs to be, and I can see that bead coming down, and it's running right across the top of that hammer, and it's lined up. And that's how you're going to know on a single barrel shotgun like this, when the hammer is down, it blocks the front sight. So you're going to pull that hammer back again, finger in the safety position up on the frame, and you're going to find that soft spot and line your nose, your eye, and your cheek up all in one with that threat, that target. And when you bring it up, your sight should be nearly dead on every single time. And it's just going to come from practice of doing it, and it's going to be on. It's going to be on close enough. You're not going to be doing this and shooting bullseyes, but it will be on close enough. So we'll switch over to staying with the open sights, we'll switch over to the lever action. Again, visual, physical, chamber's empty. It's closed, put the hammer down. Now this is a little bit heavier gun, being that heavy wall barrel. Like I said, I cut it from 22 inches down to 18 and added the muzzle brake, which brings it out to 21. It's a little bit lighter. It's still nice and handy. Now if I'm hunting and I'm hiking through the woods, if I don't have it on a sling, I have that gun in my hand like this. Just hold it in front of me. Even if I have it on the sling, sometimes I'll have the sling over my shoulder this way so that the gun is in a more comfortable position. And all I have to do is get my elbow out from underneath that sling and it comes back up. But holding it this way, or even just holding it in your hands this way, all I got to do is pump that muzzle down, bring it right back up, and it's on. So it winds up being the same muscle memory no matter what gun you have. Like I said, whether it's open-sighted, bead-sighted, or scoped, you just get lined up, bring it up, get that muscle memory, and your cheek is going to stop the elevation of the gun from coming up when you meet your cheek, so that when your eye is on the target, your head is facing, your eye is facing the target. It's kind of like you want to be looking at an even plane and to bring your whole head down rather than just tilting your eyes. By doing that, like I mentioned, kind of coming forward rather than tilting your head, that allows me to come up and have those sights almost dead on every time. Now we'll switch to the scoped gun. Again, this being a muzzle loader, it's a little bit different, but there is no cap in there. There's no 209 primer on the New England Huntsman. There's a large orange plug that goes in there that holds the 209 primer, and when you close it, it actually provides you this slot right here, and a flag sticks out so you know that there's a primer in there. You don't know whether it's discharged or not, but you know the primer's in there, so you know you can pop it open and check. So again, same thing. I'm going to pull up and I'm going to find that soft spot. I'm going to roll that gun up, and when I roll that gun up and meet my cheek, boom, I'm coming up, hitting my cheek, and that scope is almost dead on whatever I'm looking at. Now from this point, I can move the gun, but if I keep it lined up with my head and move everything together, or if I see something moving over here, okay, I can turn my head to determine if it's a threat or not. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to drop down off this one in front, turn my head. Now I see, okay, that tree over there, there's an X on it. We're going to call that a deer. So I'm going to pivot with my left foot, pivot my foot out, maintain my stance. I'm keeping that gun tucked right in that pocket. And boom, I'm up, I'm on it quick. And by focusing my eye on that target, right when it comes up, I don't have to move around to try and find it. It's almost perfect right there. So I can bring it up, I see that tree trunk, boom, click, there it is. So just a quick little lesson on pointability of a long gun and getting it up and into the fight quick. Again, whether you're hunting, if you're in a survival situation, you're hunting, you're in a fight for life. If you're in a survival situation and you're facing two-legged vermin, you're in a fight for life, you're in combat. So these are actually combat techniques being applied to technically non-combatant weapons. But any firearm, any long gun, with enough practice, you can get rapid and quick so that that gun comes up and it's pretty much on every single time. So this is Dan, Hardwood Bushcraft and Tactical. I hope this video was helpful. Remember, always practice proper firearm safety. Also remember, better to be prepared today than to wish you were prepared tomorrow. This is Dan, Hardwood Bushcraft and Tactical. I'm out. Have a great day.
Storm clouds are building above the timber.